Hey everyone, this is the ThinkEnergy podcast, and I'm your host, Dan Siggett from Hydro Ottawa. Are you looking to better understand the fast-changing world of energy? Well, the ThinkEnergy podcast isn't your ordinary energy show. Every 2 weeks, we take you on a tour and discuss, through a communication lens, some of the coolest trends, emerging technologies, and latest innovations. So stay tuned as we explore some traditional and some quirky facets of this industry. This is the ThinkEnergy podcast. Welcome to episode 4 of the ThinkEnergy podcast. So here's today's big question. Is voice technology the next big thing? 100,000 years ago, we communicated via voice or grunts. Have we come full circle? Is voice, like Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home, the new rage? In this episode of ThinkEnergy, my guest is David Ricottone, who leads digital applications at Hydro Ottawa. David, thank you for joining us today. Let's start by telling our listeners who David Ricottone is.
Yes, my official title is the Web Application Manager here at Hydro Ottawa. I've been with the company for just over 3 years. I essentially look after all of our customer-facing applications. And as you know, Dan, working in close unison with our communications and our media and public affairs teams, really putting the customer at the center of everything that we do here at Hydro Ottawa.
David, what attracted you to the utility sector?
I'll be very honest with you. Absolutely nothing to start.
You do know we are recording now.
And I know some of our senior executives will be listening to this, but it's actually a good story.
Okay.
So nothing initially. In fact, the way that the story goes was that I had actually I'd already signed off on a different job. And after leaving the office of this potential new employer, my recruiter called me back on my drive home and said, "Hey, listen, I have one more opportunity." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? I've already signed. Like it's in the works." He said, "Well, no, I know that you've got a young family, and that stability was something that you may want to look into." And I said, "Well, what's the offer?" And he told me it was Hydro Ottawa, and I was like, "What, a utility? Are you kidding me?" After reading the narrative and after going home and talking with my wife and her basically making the decision between startup or blue chip, safe kind of decision, she kind of helped guide my decision there. But in all seriousness, I haven't looked back. It's been a tremendous adventure so far. Since starting with the company just a few years ago, we've dramatically and drastically expanded the channels in which we communicate with customers. When I first started, we essentially had our public-facing website, and we had our My Account, or what was previously MHL. And if you look at the huge increases in automation and self-service, as well as some cool innovations that we brought through our Twitter bot, completely autonomous technology with no human interaction, we're actually presenting real business advantages and operational efficiencies to the organization in general. That and the culture in which we work within is unlike even private sector businesses. The culture for entrepreneurialism is very strong in the organization. And Dan, as you know, we've shot from the hip on many occasions and just kind of took some chances. And it's been we've had some tremendous results.
Cool. Okay, so now let's go to today's topic. Amazon has sold 100 million Echoes, and Google Home Assistant can be found in 1 billion devices. Are attitudes towards smart audio changing? Any thought on why they're on the rise?
Well, the smart audio has also coined a different phrase or a different concept, and it's the concept of ambient computing, right? So this is the concept where the ability to interact with your technology, your devices, your life in general, promotes choice and convenience for customers. or even just the general public.
Yeah.
Here we're talking about, if you think about the evolution of computing in general, back in the 60s you had a mainframe computer which took up what would be 7 offices in our building.
Yeah.
Then it moves to PC, then to laptop, then to tablet, then to mobile phone, and now this concept of ambient computing. So the same type of technology exists in your home, in your office, and in your car.
Cool. Very cool. Thanks, Dave. How has technology, though, enabled your team to bring concepts like smart audio to market? I'm going to push. I'm going to push for my parish here. Are there any opportunities, and as an example, for a flash briefing?
Yep. So the first part of your question is how were we able to bring this concept to market? It all started a few years ago when we were mandated to launch our mobile app. Mm-hmm. So with a mobile app, we had to figure out who our customers were and essentially their identity, and how we can create a seamless interaction. So how is it that you can log into one Hydro Ottawa asset, but then use those same credentials to log into the other? So we did work with a third party. It's a cloud-based provider called Login Radius out of Vancouver, a great Canadian company. They helped us transition and basically extract who our customers were from any single application and move it up to the cloud. So based on that ability of being able to introduce new technologies in a safe and secure manner, we were able to leverage that piece to provide the authenticated portion of our smart skill applications on Alexa and Google Home.
Why is authentication so important?
Well, it's extremely important. As you know, that privacy is of paramount concern. There are rules, there are essentially laws created around ensuring that companies have all the proper safeguards in place to keep information private. The other foundational piece that we implemented was we moved purely towards API-driven development. And for those that are not extremely tech-savvy, it basically means that an API is a means through which an application can talk to another application, but in a very secure manner and exchange data. So with that, we were able to leverage the APIs that we built for outage communications to provide outage alerts and outage updates. Same thing with billing. The same endpoints are used in our IVR that we've exposed on our smart speaker.
IVR? What's IVR?
That's our call center.
Okay.
So there are self-serve on the call center side.
Okay. Well,
and for the Flash piece, it's absolutely doable, especially on the Alexa side. On the Google side, they actually don't provide that specific functionality. On the Google platform, they do have it's basically a pick list of canned news sources. But we have tremendous opportunities on the Alexa side where, provided that we work together as we normally do, and we brainstorm and we create some cool content, it's very doable for us to be able to be more ingrained in our customers' everyday lives.
Yeah, and it has to be like value for the customer. It can't be our own little propaganda. It has to be something that the customer can truly benefit from learning.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, beyond weather, music, and like energy management, do you have any thoughts on how you can further leverage smart audio? Are we ready for transactions? Like pay my bill, or surveys or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the cool pieces of this type of technology are on the analytics side. So unlike any other point in history, even if you look at Google Analytics gives us very high-level generic information about flows, where customers are entering or exiting, websites, but it's really not capturing the true experience. With this technology and the advanced analytics tools that we have, we capture, the interactions, and we're able to provide KPIs on how many customers are engaging the application. But what's really cool are those interactions in which we don't handle.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is we capture every interaction that a customer will ask us in which we don't have an answer for. But keeping in mind that all of the information, all those interactions are completely anonymized. I would never know it's Dan Seguin.
Yeah.
It's just an interaction. So based on that, we run reports based on the transactions that we don't handle, and we're able to actually produce a list for our roadmap. So a great segue. Pay My Bill was actually one of the top customer requests and engagements that we had on the smart speaker, in which we didn't have an answer for.
So that was a question that was captured through Alexa, like a customer or somebody online would actually be asking that question, and there was no response from our end, but just having that clear question is an indication that, hey, that might be a direction we would want to focus on.
Absolutely. And then the second was more consumption related interaction. So it'd be customers asking, how much electricity did I use yesterday? How much electricity did I use last week? Okay. How much electricity did I use last Christmas? Those types of things. So unlike any other point in time, the feedback that I can present to a steering committee, a board, or whoever is, why would you pick these two? It's because it's what Hydro Ottawa customers are asking us. It's not a consultant. It's not a poll. It's not a survey. Yeah. These are our local customers. So this gives you tremendous insights. In terms of what other things, looking forward from the smart speaker industry, you're looking at more hands-free buying. So, especially on the Alexa side with its deep roots into, obviously, Amazon. Yeah. We're looking at, home automation and integration with devices. If you look at smart fridges, so a smart fridge can actually monitor the consumption of various products and actually keep a grocery list updated for you.
The QR code that reads once you pull it out.
Absolutely, and it could measure the frequency in which you're going in, and it can estimate using AI and machine learning that you're going to be out of milk by such and such a date, and it can actually start to add those items incrementally to a shopping list. Okay. And at that point, as you know, with Amazon and home delivery, you can say just do it, and it shows up at your door and in your fridge. Improved voice biometrics to authenticate users is actually pretty important. So again, we talked about privacy, right? It's like you don't want a guest in your home ordering, a plasma TV as a joke, right? So with voice biometric authentication, they won't be able to do that because it's not you. If you look at, advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning for full duplex conversations. So this is where you're talking to the smart speaker in a very highly intelligent and autonomous way. So when you ask it, for example, I encourage anyone that may be listening to this, just go onto YouTube and then do a Google search on Google Home keynote speaker, and you'll see the president and CEO of Google actually performing this experiment. And it was a human asking the digital assistant or the speaker to book a haircut appointment between 10 and noon,
that.
right?
Yeah,
and there was a full interaction between the assistant and a human, and the individual at the hair salon didn't even know that they were talking to a bot. Yeah. And then, providing updates right back to calendar. So those types of things are going to affect also customer experience moving forward and customer service. The ability for first time response and first resolution for response is incredible, because these first interactions, you're talking to something that has deep intelligence into your business and other practices. And really the last piece on that is, just better and deeper analytics to track customer behavior. Okay. Just as we talked previously about, we have analytics on what our customers are asking us and what we should do. Well, those types of analytics can also be used to track customer behavior, and that basically leads to extremely highly customized user experiences, unlike we've ever seen before.
That's very interesting. So can I assume that, I'll pop into my last question here. What keeps you up at night?
Honestly, it's trying to keep up with how fast technology changes. Okay. I did a workshop at CS Week in Arizona about a month ago, and the title of the presentation was Smart Speaker. I prepared this presentation in February. By the time I got there, Smart Speaker is really the device endpoint. It's the technology, the platform that powers everything in your car, on the smart speaker, on a website. I was amazed, and I remember bringing that to people's attention and those in the workshop. I said, look, it's just been a few months and already it's changed. So that definitely kind of keeps me up at night.
Cool. Very cool. Well, listen, I know you're a busy man, so I'm not going to keep you up any longer. How can people keep in touch with you? How can people connect with you? Where are you, David?
Yep. Hydro Ottawa, here in the nation's capital in Ottawa, Ontario. Perhaps we can add in some of the notes after. I can
Sure.
add my email address. It's David Ricottone, Ricottone at hydroottawa.com.
Are you on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn as well,
Okay.
and also on Twitter.
Perfect. Okay, guys. So that's it for us. Thank you very much for today, David. And I'm sure we'll be connecting shortly.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Think Energy. If so, please head on over to iTunes to rate, review, and subscribe. Also, be sure to tell your friends and colleagues about us. It's very much appreciated. We'd love to hear from you, so check us out on hydroottawa.com. Thank you for listening.